Hi there. You're watching Pop Culture Warrior. This is the way.
Hi there. It's your second favorite DP right here, okay? No, that's Deadpool, you silly little Hufflepuff. Anyways, I'm gonna need you to shut up that pretty little mouth of yours and pay attention because the show's about to start, alright? And, I don't know about you, but I know who's my vote for sexiest ex-soldier turned pop culture show host. Alright, enough foreplay. Let's get on with the show.
Broadcasting live from the basement of the Pentagon. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Welcome, one and all. Today is August 13th, 2024, and this is episode 179 of Pop Culture Warrior. It's the show where I stay up to date on all the ins and outs of what's happening in pop culture so you don't have to. I'm CQ. I'm your Pop Culture Warrior, and joining me now is everyone's favorite, beloved, amazing co-host. He's been gone for the summer, but ladies and gentlemen, he is back. He's the man in the bubble, the Marine with the mouth. Mad Mike, hey!
What's up? I've worked on that throughout the summer of negotiations. You could see I won the negotiations.
Mm-hmm.
CQ held out for 2 months.
Yep.
I drive a hard bargain, but I got my freaking light.
A lot of conversations, a lot of lawyers involved. There was a lot of happenings, but we made it work.
We made it happen.
Yeah, yeah.
Only had to pay shipping. Fucking dick.
I love it. Everybody, let's give it big ups to Mike, Mad Mike here for getting with the program. Really jazzing up his background. I mean,
change it up every year.
Yeah, man. RGB. Who dare I say? Maybe there'll be 2 one day. Maybe there'll be 2.
We might. I don't know. I don't want to spoil people.
I'm not making that much money yet.
Give them a little. And they just want more.
They just want more and more and more. The people missed you, man. The people missed you. Scott in the chat says, best co-host is back.
That's right.
Aww. And Angry Elf says, Mike looks well rested. There you go.
Been traveling the world, and by
He's been
world
out
I
there.
meant the United States of America, because it's the only place I go. Why go anywhere else? When you've done it right, why go elsewhere?
There you go. Shout out to everybody watching tonight, tuning in early. Heath, what's up, buddy? Captain Wayne, we got Davis in the house. Hey, back at you. Charles, what's up, buddy? We got, oh man, I appreciate y'all hanging out with us, man. This is gonna be a fun night. It's gonna be a fun
5
night.
people watching.
We got the Ahsoka ARTS. Tano says hi. Hi back. How you doing?
Are you eating their whole?
Well, I'm just, hey, out of
Their whole
respect.
hand.
Out of respect, because again, we've got people live on Facebook, we've got people live on Twitter, we got people live on Instagram, we got people live on YouTube. So out of respect, man.
Verticals and stuff.
Cottrell Michael says hi back to you, buddy. We got the verticals up, we got the horizontals up. You missed a lot, Mike. You missed a lot while you were gone.
I'm sure I did.
You
I
missed
did
a
not
month of
watch
giveaways.
1 episode.
And the funny thing is, I know that's true. I know that's true. Because we talked so much shit about you while you were gone. You would have had something to say about it. I know for a fact. Anyway, dude, you missed a whole month of giveaways, bro. Hit Parade gave us a couple of boxes. And man, the coolest prizes, autographed script. We had an autographed Funko Pop, Star Wars sketch card, Avengers, like a Marvel little prize package. Very, very cool stuff. And in fact,
3 people won all that.
Yeah, 1 person won all that. Me, no.
Your pseudonym.
Charles says, Jen Ward says, hi. Hey, Jen. Hope she got her prize package. So actually, for the astute viewers, you'll notice back over there's something missing. So real quick, because just shout out to Jen and Charles. You guys are awesome. Jen won the signed Funko Pop. Now, jokingly, I said, oh, it was a Christina Ricci signed Casper Funko Pop. And I was like, oh, maybe I can trade them something. This is cool. It would be great in the background, whatever. And I got to talking with Jen, who won, and she, asked if I was serious, and we negotiated back and forth, and she traded. And this is what she asked for. She asked for the Stormtrooper helmet that was back there, and they asked for one of my CQ hats autographed, which is crazy.
You have a harder bargain than I.
You never wanted my autograph. You know that.
No. Talk about useless.
but I was so touched. This is the first time. Now, people have always joked like, oh, let me get your autograph. Like they've joked. But this was a serious, real request. And it's the first time I've ever been asked for an autograph. So I made it a little special. I signed the hat. I put a little message on there.
It was like the world's oldest hat. You don't have like a new hat?
That's what they wanted, the original.
Salt, like sweat. You only wear that hat for this show. And it was like so sweaty.
I get sweaty doing this show.
Studio's 1,000 degrees.
I do. It's so humid. It's so hot in here. No, so I signed that, but then I was just I was so touched and honored that I just loaded a giant box just full of stuff. shirts and
Used underwear.
all the crap I had
Bath
lying
water.
around, some old water bottles that had stuff in it. I don't know, like just random stuff. But it was just a nice thing to say hey and appreciate
So she played to your ego. And
You
well
get me once.
done.
You get me
Somebody's been
once.
watching.
Well,
They've been taking lessons. I
I
know how
mean,
to
you
get a bunch
know.
of extra shit.
It is what it is. So real quick, before we dive any more into the show, first, thank you everybody for watching. Tonight we have joining us the OG Flash himself, Mr. John Wesley Shipp, will be joining us later tonight at approximately 9 p.m. Eastern. Super excited to talk to him. When I asked if he wanted to come do the show, it was instant yes. It was like, oh yeah, absolutely. So we've had this date circled on the calendar for a while. Very excited to have him on. It's gonna be a great conversation. So that'll be
never seen the show before.
We got to get you a little button that you hit it and go. That's what we need. You need a button button. So I lost my train of thought. You ruined it. So we have him coming on. Also, something you missed while you were gone. I went to MGS Con, which is a special convention made up of all things Metal Gear Solid. I showed some of the collectibles that I picked up, but I secured one of these flags. No, it was last year, and then this was the second one. So I've got a Foxhound flag here, and we did a bunch of giveaways. So I was like, well, how are we going to do this one fairly? And it was decided that it's going to be a Patreon exclusive giveaway. So in the effort of all things fair and transparent, as I always like to do, I'm going to go ahead and do this live right now. And one of our Patreon winners is going to win it. And they can reach out to me and get there. Ryan says, first time here. Is that a flux capacitor back there? Yes, it is. That whole shelf is filled with Back to the Future stuff. That one and where is it? Point. That one. Those two shelves have all Back to the Future stuff in it.
What's the pointy one next to the Halo thing?
The pointy one? That's the Dragon Zord helmet. It was like when the White Ranger and the Green Ranger kind of merged.
Okay.
The
Looks
Lord,
like a weird egg. You gotta fix your lighting.
The lighting's a little off today. But no, it's a Black Panther, Magneto, Halo, Power Rangers.
You had the Black Panther one.
Yeah.
I was gonna buy that for you. I saw it on.
I also have
Store.
the Ant-Man. That one is the Star-Lord, the Iron Man, the Deadpool. I have a Spider-Man, and that's Captain America's helmet up there. The Loki staff, the Thanos glove, the all the stuff, lots of things.
So much crap.
Stop talking to people and spin the wheel. That's what I told him.
Somebody wants a black.
Oh man, right? Says got to meet Marty's mom, Leah Thompson. Oh man, she's amazing. I told the story before about how when I met her, I made her cry because it was just telling her what she had meant to me, and obviously I had a huge crush on her. Oh my god. Okay, real quick, let's just do the giveaway so that way we can move past that. 1 second here. Let's see.
I don't want a flag. I just want a flag signed by you. It's not gonna work again.
It works once. It works.
Fool me once.
Shame
on me.
Fool me once. All right. So this is the name of all the. Why do I have the Hit Parade there? Hit Parade is not sponsoring this giveaway. Yeah, there's no Hit Parade sponsored today. This is for all the Patreon members. So I'm going to shuffle up their names. If you guys want to win cool stuff like this, maybe join the Patreon. It's super cheap and kind of fun. Let's see. We're going to shuffle, and stop. Let's hide this. Let's zoom into this. And the winner of the Metal Gear Solid flag, signed by all of the voice actors in attendance, including Snake himself, and Otacon, and the Colonel, is Charles. Hey, Charles, look at you. Big winner, man. Big winner. Congratulations, Charles. You won. Greg almost snuck in there. All right. There we go. Now people can stop asking me about the giveaway. That's done. Let's move that over here. Okay. So, yeah, Charles, hit me up and we'll get you squared away after the show. Sorry if I'm coughing. I'm like trying to get past this, and it has just been killing me. I guess I gotta unsubscribe. You guys are funny.
Cancel that shit.
You guys are funny.
Oh, Netflix.
You guys are so funny.
Charles only wins anyways. Why the F
Charles only wins. You hear this, people? Charles? Yeah, tell him.
Charles and Pete, only
Tell
two
him.
people that win. It's flipping rigged.
You guys are awesome. Okay, so man, so much has happened since you've been gone. We won't cover it all.
Since you've been gone.
Deadpool, Wolverine, all those things. D23 just happened, which is Disney's their own big announcement convention, and I mean they announced a bunch of stuff that if you have kids, they're gonna love. Right? There's Moana 2 and Frozen 3 and
all those.
What's that?
We already knew about all those.
I mean,
and they're doing park upgrades for the first time in 100 years because nobody's going to the parks because it's the same shit.
Well, I mean, let's talk about that for a second, actually, because you are a specialist when it comes to the park situation. Explain to me, because I really want to understand this as a Floridian. You go to the parks all the time. You've got the season pass, and I'm sure it's a big discount to get the season pass and to go.
Not really.
But what's the draw? If you've been there, if you've done it, you've had the food, you've had the souvenirs, you've ridden the rides. What's the point of going back repeatedly?
Because my wife and kids want to go. Why the fuck else would I do anything? Some red-blooded American. That's why we do everything we do. Jesus Christ.
Okay, so
I want to be there with a bunch of friggin' assholes? Hell no.
Why is it that your kids and wife go? Like, what is it about it that you're riding the same rides?
They like torture. They like to be hot and miserable.
They're into that BDSM stuff, huh?
I do not get it. I don't understand it. It's the same crap over and over again. It's fucking miserable. It's full of people. Oh, or they smile. And if it's your birthday, they're like, happy birthday. I don't know. I don't get it.
Nice.
I don't understand it. I really don't. I guess it's like, why would you watch the show? It's the same shit over and over again.
Wow. All right. You crossed the line. Let's see.
No, I don't get it. There's not. I mean, they've recently added new rides, so it's like, yeah, but for years it was the same stuff for like 50 years.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, we don't know why people don't want to come. We're only making $2 billion.
Billy says Mike is the one you see at the ice cream parlor on Main Street. Does that sound about right?
No, I avoid Magic Kingdom because they don't serve alcohol.
There you go. That's the secret.
It's my least that, and it's hard as fuck to get in and out. Like, oh, you know what people want? They want to, 2 ways in and 2 ways out. Like, God forbid you wanted to walk your happy ass out of this park after being there for 15 hours.
Not allowed.
We make you take a train or a boat that goes slow as fuck.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like I've hit a nerve tonight. It looks like I touched a sore spot. Oh, man.
No, I hate Disney.
CQ, blink twice if you need help. I'm fine. I'm fine. So
it's just funny, though, because they made all those announcements, and 2 days before, I was just reading how, we lost so much money. We only made $2 billion, and we don't know why.
I mean,
inflation.
Usually they make like 5 to 10 billion, but yeah.
They make the most they make is like 3 billion, so they're down $1 billion.
I mean, you would feel it if you were down $1 billion.
You're talking about I make $100 on Patreon. Fucking $2 billion. Get the fuck out of here. That's a fuck ton of money. Jesus Christ.
I mean, but okay. So if I said,
Don't cry to me that you only made $2 billion.
so if I gave you 2 duffel bags and said each one of these has $1 billion in it, and then you misplaced one of those duffel bags, wouldn't you be a little sore about it?
No,
you'd
I
still-
wouldn't, because I still have a fucking $1 billion.
But you can have $2 billion.
Way more money than I'll ever spend in my life.
Oh man.
Jesus Christ. It's like, oh yeah, I've been giving you 2 duffel bags of billion, and then you lose one after 10 years. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. I do want to talk about Borderlands, because we were going to touch on D23 for a second, which is just a lot of announcements, nothing really new.
He did more at San Diego, which I was surprised they did San Diego.
That was the first time Marvel had been
So
back
they're
to San
gonna
Diego
wait.
for a while. Yeah.
Mhm.
The Borderlands.
Talking about a dumpster fire.
Wow. I mean, we showed the trailer on here.
I didn't even watch the trailer. I saw the poster. That was good enough. I saw the poster and I was like, not gonna watch it. Not gonna do it.
I don't want to knock anyone. I don't. I really
Oh, I
don't,
do.
because I'm not one to burn bridges. But when you've got Kevin Hart as your action star, not the comedic relief, but the serious action star,
It's like,
it's
where
not going
did
to be a
you
good
go
movie.
wrong? Like, what's your next role? Do you also work for Disney Parks? Like, what the fuck is your malfunction?
Let's see. I haven't been since Lights Motors Action closed. Oh, that's the place. Yeah.
It's on the show. It's a while.
Let's see. Scott says, weird how making it for everyone ended up with no one liking it. Maybe people aren't all the same and things have to be made for certain audiences. I mean, here's the
It's
thing.
a very popular game.
It is a very popular
And
game.
you, like always, they just go far. Like, I've never played. Why would I play the game when we're going to make a movie about it? I'll make the movie how I want to make the movie.
So
That's exactly what they did.
that's part of it. So inside sources, this is what they say. There was an original script that was written by someone who knew Borderlands and the property, and they said it was actually really good. And then it progressed and it started getting bigger and bigger names attached to it. And then they brought in Eli Roth to direct it, and he's like, I'm going to do my version. And basically threw away that script once everybody was already cast and everything, and rewrote the script to what that is today. And the problem is, Borderlands.
He's a fucking idiot.
Well, yeah. I've met Eli Roth. Anyway, this is a whole other story. We'll talk about that another time. But Borderlands, the game, is not meant for kids. It's a mature game, but they wanted to make a movie and sell it to kids. Like, they wanted kids to go to it. But it's very weird because, it's like very competing ideals. Because we're going to make a movie about a game that's not for kids, and we're going to make the movie for kids, and we're going to use the characters from the game, and we're going to use 50, 60, and 70-year-old actors and actresses to play these characters. Like,
the kids don't know who they fucking are.
it doesn't make
They
a
don't
lot
know
of
who
sense.
Kevin Hart is. They don't know who Jamie Lee Curtis is. Like,
Kate Blanchett. Yeah.
they don't know who that is.
Yeah.
They don't give a fuck.
I don't.
You gotta put
understand.
I don't even know who the new actors are. I'm so out of touch. So old. I don't know what young people like. The Justin Biebers and shit. I don't know.
The Britney Spears is.
Yeah,
all
put
those
that
kids are
Britney
into.
Spears in there.
So
The
anyway,
Justin Timberlake.
it just, man.
It's
I
just
mean,
a classic studio bullshit. And Eli Roth, I mean, he
Yeah.
sucks. Dude.
So it says here that after making its debut in the thing, blah blah blah, the movie came in opening weekend in 4th place. I mean, name a movie that came out this weekend other than that, and it came
That
out
was
in
the
4th
only
place.
movie that came out. So you're competing with movies that have been on for 3 weeks now.
So
Who's first? Deadpool?
Deadpool and Wolverine dominates the top spot.
And then the Purple Crayon fucking
No.
beat it.
No, that's actually funny. We can touch on that for a second. But second was Ryan Reynolds' wife, Blake Lively, had a new movie called Ends With
that's
Us.
Stupid fuck
That took
movie.
second place, which my wife went to see it. She said it was all right. She said it was pretty good. She said Blake Lively gets down in that movie. Like, she throws down.
Still,
Third
that's sad.
place,
It's like a Hallmark movie that beat you.
pretty much. Third place was Twisters. And
Yeah, I
then you
see.
had Borderlands in fourth, which only made $8.8 million total
Christ.
over the weekend for a movie where the budget for the production budget was reportedly like 120 million. And then with all the marketing, you're getting closer to 200 million.
What marketing though? I've seen zero shit about it.
You know why? Because they marketed it to kids. They put it on all the places that kids would see it, the YouTubes and all the other things.
No, it wasn't on Disney Plus. That's why I didn't see it.
It definitely wasn't on
You
Disney
ain't doing
Plus.
it right.
They're not tapping that Disney yet. But so, I mean, dude, I can't even do the quick math on that. That's what? So
It's not even covering Kevin Hart's
5%?
salary. I'm sure they paid him $20 million. So he
easily.
didn't even. I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis probably made $8 million. So I got, or
I
Kate Blanchett,
mean,
whoever the fuck.
it's bad. That's bad. The movie debuted with a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
It tracks 100%. Just from me seeing the poster, I know that tracks. They should just hire me, and then I'll just be like, "This is a fucking shit movie.
So
I'll save you $100 million, and I'll
So-
only charge you $2 billion."
And dude, you like, for me as a guy who, like, I read the trades and I read all this stuff, like, the writing was on the wall long ago.
You
Obviously,
give everyone the benefit of the doubt, like hardcore. You're
I
like,
try.
"Please,
I try.
Kevin
I
Hart
try.
could totally play an action star. His
I try.
time is now." I mean, he hasn't done it in like 35 films, but I think this one he could do it. If Tom
Anyway.
Cruise could do it,
If that little man
Kevin
can
Hart
do it, anybody can do it.
it.
Any 4-foot man can do it. No, so there were, dude, there were so many, like, there was someone who was a writer on, I think it was like the original script or whatever. And because if they used parts of it, you have to give credit. Like, the way it works is you have to give credit to everybody who participated in it. One of the people that wrote in the script asked to have their name removed from the movie, from the screenplay, from the movie. And because he's a legit guy with, like, legit good credits. And he's like, take my name off this. Take my name out your mouth. He said, just slap the shit out. As he kept voice says, poster blows, shit movie, shit band name, shitty band. Totally. Nice.
You know what they should do? Instead of wasting all the money in commercials, just like send people cocaine. Like, if you have a shitty fucking movie like this and you want people to watch it, you're obviously doing a fuck ton of cocaine. Just send it out to like
Just share.
100,000 people.
Just share.
Just put it in the mail with a, like, a little card for the movie or whatever. Like, go watch my movie.
Is you're welcome, Borderlands, and that's it.
Yeah.
Speaking of Deadpool and Wolverine, I don't know if anybody saw it, but they released a.
No one saw that movie. No, it only made like $500 million.
Not the movie, jackass. Let me finish the sentence. I don't know if anyone saw, but they released a concept art. You know, when a lot of these movies, when they're pitching ideas, they'll do concept art to give, you know, the pitches, and you can see what it is going to look like. So one of the official concept arts came out, and so cool. It basically is like a giant Deadpool melee. And it's a lot you see in the movie, right? You see Kidpool, you see Headpool, you see Deadpool and Wolverine, you see Blade and Elektra and everybody. But there's a few things you see in this concept art that never came to pass. So one of them is a Deadpool T-Rex. There's a literal T-Rex with a Deadpool mask over its face.
Yeah.
And then the other two things is Daredevil, the Ben Affleck version, and Ghost Rider.
They mentioned it, but they never.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ghost Rider, the Nick Cage Ghost Rider, so that tells you early on concepts had them being in the movie, even though that didn't come to pass. And obviously Ben Affleck's going to stay away
We
from
don't know how much money we want to blow on this.
literally, Ryan Reynolds joked, and he was like, "Yeah, we He's like, we never even approached Ben Affleck. No way it was worth enough money. But they said they did approach Nick Cage, but it was too expensive. And they said the only way they could afford it is if instead of using the CGI, they would actually just set his head on fire. Was the only way they could afford to have him. And they're like, he was totally in for it. But yeah, so it's, I mean, man, $1 billion, $1 billion. Every time,
You
people
talk about marketing, they were fucking everywhere.
they were everywhere. They did
They
it
were
right.
all up in everyone's ass.
Everyone. I saw like DiGiorno pizza ads that had Deadpool and Wolverine.
Kids were like, "Can we go see it?" And I'm like, "Fuck no! What the fuck is wrong with it? Curse more than I curse."
First of all, King
Fuck
took his
outta
girl.
here.
Nemo
Yeah,
took his girls.
It's bad parenting.
Terrible parenting.
Some of us just
Terrible.
pretend to be assholes.
I just do this on TV. That's all. I'm just an asshole
It's
on
on a
TV.
shitty show that nobody watches. That's in real life.
Oh man. Captain Wing says, watch, I bet there's a Magic the Gathering. There is a Magic the Gathering movie in the works. There is.
Yep. Kevin Hart and The Rock are gonna fucking be in it.
It's gonna be Jamie Lee Curtis and The Rock.
And The Rock, the special appearance spot. Guess who? Kevin fucking Hart. What is he not in? That's what the guy's fucking everywhere. It's like
He's
Jesus.
everywhere. He's
Talk
everywhere.
about oversaturating the market.
I mean, hey,
Is there
you know what
no
though?
other short black people we can get? Like fuck.
I'll tell you what though, it's smart when you think, all right, you never
It's
know.
good for him because he makes a fuck ton of money.
You never know how quick the ride is over, so get the most out of it while you can.
Saturate the fuck out of the market.
That's right. That's right. So yeah, so like Billy said, so it's funny because I saw a thing that said, okay, in the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe, there's been like 119 F-bombs dropped. 118 of those were in Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
And one was in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which is hilarious. I feel like with Guardians, they were like, all right, let's just dip our pinky toe in the fuck waters. Then they went full on. Anyway, what else do we have? What the
They got that
where's that sound coming from?
fucking Agatha. Did you watch that?
Oh
preview?
yeah. Like
Oh shit.
I
Sorry.
want these things to be good. I do. I like Catherine Hahn as an actress. I think she's a great actress. I think she's a great comedic actress. I don't know if this is going to be a good show.
It's like what is that show? Charmed
Oh,
meets
yeah.
the Sanderson sisters and
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
Marvel. And it's
Mm.
like
I mean, again, give them benefit of the doubt.
it's on Disney Plus. People will watch it. It's free. I mean,
I hope
we
I
watch
hope it's
She-Hulk.
good. I do. I hope it's good. I want it to be good. But
No one wanted it though. And that's the thing. It's like it's another shitty character that had a couple runs and someone's like doing coke and they're like, let's fucking make a show out of this. And Kevin Feige's like, why not? We're only failing left and right. Let's fail again.
I think there's been a bit
Let's
of
give it 6 episodes.
4.5 episodes.
Yeah, that's exactly what they do. It pisses me the fuck off. 12
6
episodes is a
and a
season, you
quarter.
cocksucker.
5.25 episodes.
At 15 minutes, 13 minutes.
47 minutes and then 20 seconds. And you're like, what is happening? My head is spinning.
Who edited these?
I don't know. I feel like they knew they had Fantastic Four coming. I feel they knew they had X-Men coming. And it was just like, we just need to pad some time to get it all lined up and done. You know what I mean? And like this was,
There's so many other options.
I mean, I
You
don't
could have
know.
done another season of the other show, the
WandaVision?
Vision show. Yeah.
Well, Wanda's dead apparently, so
Yeah.
you know they're supposed to be doing it's called Vision Quest, was the show that they were working on with Paul Bettany to bring back Vision, but that nobody's heard of. So there's,
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
could
there's a
have done
couple things.
1,000 things.
Yeah,
Yeah. There's so many options.
Ironheart's in the works. But like it's like you said, it's all the things that I feel like nobody's really excited for. Because like who's really like asking?
Who was
for
like,
Ironheart?
you know who the best fucking villain I've ever read in a comic? Agatha. It's like nobody fucking heard of Agatha before the goddamn show. Like, unless you read every comic book ever,
Fair,
which very
fair.
few people have. It's like, so, what the
Like,
fuck are you doing? Like, come
I
on.
feel the cards are there for Dark Avengers. The cards are there for Young Avengers. You can do West Coast Avengers. Like, there's plenty of places you can go. And you know, they're
They
bringing back.
kind of did that in Deadpool, which I liked. I was like, he's kind of doing like fucking knockoff of
Yeah.
is it Savage Avengers?
Yeah.
Tony
No,
and
the
shit,
X-Force.
the new one.
The X-Force was
Yeah.
what he did in the second one. No, trying to get my thoughts in order. I don't
There's
know.
so much shit they can do. I don't know. Give it
Yeah.
the fucking Daredevil. I thought they were working on Daredevil.
It's coming. Yeah, the trailer. They just released the trailer for Daredevil Born Again, which
You
brings
could have
back
done like any of those. You could have done fucking Jessica Jones. That lady ain't doing shit. Doing
I
like
mean,
Dark
there's
Matter, which is a good show, but you could have brought Luke Cage. I don't know any of those fuckers back.
yeah. So I mean, we'll see.
Punisher.
We'll see. Punisher's coming back, and the early reports are that they're like this one is even, they pushed the edge further than they did with Netflix. Like they said, we're actually going darker and like Vincent.
Okay, Disney. Okay.
I mean, they just released Deadpool and Wolverine, so
We
I mean,
dropped a dang it in there. Woo. He's got a scruffy beard. He's not clean shaven.
Oh goodness. Oh goodness. But yeah, I mean, we'll see.
Showed the blood splatters.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm interested. I'm interested to see how this will all unfold and shape up. We were talking about this last week before you got back.
Only
But
go up.
the Fantastic Four. Did you see the teaser stuff that they put out for the Fantastic Four?
No.
It's crazy to think, and I talked about this last week. It's crazy to think like they haven't actually shot anything for the Fantastic Four. Like they're starting.
Yeah, they like just started
shooting,
it
like last week.
a
Yeah,
couple weeks ago.
so
Yeah.
it's like, well, how did they show all this stuff in Comic-Con? And a lot of it was pre-visuals, obviously, like test footage of what it's going to look like. And the rest of it was basically they went in for like clothes fittings, right? So they were putting on their like the outfits
Yeah,
and the
like the
costumes
old
and everything.
Nicolas Cage Superman shit.
Yeah, and then they just filmed them like walking around and talking and just kind of goofing off, and they were able to use that just to give people a sense of what Fantastic Four. And honestly, that trailer was better than most trailers that are out for real movies that are actually shot. So, big kudos to them for like they have a very clear vision of what that world is going to be and who these characters are going to be. Will the movie be any good? Hopefully.
I don't know. Fantastic Four fucking sucks. You should have started with it, and then you could have raised the bar from there. But they've they were cool in the '60s. Like, yeah, they're the first family of Marvel. And it's like, yeah, because back then that was all we had. Like you start out, and then you get your little taste, and then you start out with a little Coke, and the next thing you know, you're smoking crack and snorting meth. The Avengers and Iron Man and shit.
Oh God. Anyway, moving on.
Like my analogies, I've been watching a lot of Theo Vaughn lately.
I was gonna say you've been watching a lot of something. So speaking of movies that we don't expect to be very good, Kraven the Hunter. That's still a thing.
Jesus
that's on the
Christ,
horizon.
that's still coming out.
That's still on the horizon. Now, there's
Is that
an
coming
article
in the theater, or that's going straight to Netflix?
It's actually going into theaters. I know.
I saw people on the plane watching Madam Web. I was like,
Oh,
why
why?
would you waste 3 hours of your life?
You should go up to them like,
Shut
if you're
that off.
suicidal, you should.
Yeah.
We can get you.
I was
We
hitting
can
the
get
call
you help.
button like, bing, bing. That guy's mentally unstable.
Watson, he might open the door while we're in entrance.
There's gonna be a problem here. That guy's gonna lose his shit in a minute.
Oh man. So an article came out that said Craven the Hunter director says that the R-rated Spider-Man spinoff is, quote, gonna surprise the hell out of people. Now,
It's gonna be worse than they
it's
thought.
gonna be way
I'm
worse
like,
than
what
you
the
thought.
fuck? Like,
That's exactly what I thought. That's exactly
oh,
what I thought.
Jesus Christ.
It's gonna be way worse.
Hey guys, we brought in a special director, Eli Roth. He's gonna handle it. He does good work.
Kevin Hart is now playing the
Kevin Hart's-
lion. The lion that's
coming.
draped across Craven's chest.
I'm a lion.
Kevin Hart.
I'm just here. I'm a lion.
I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm a dead lion. I'm a dead lion.
Rower.
So
We just made it 100 times better. They're reshooting right now.
you joke, but what I was going to
Surprise.
tell you was that the movie was originally supposed to release this month on August 30th, but it's been pushed back amid there was the double strike in 2023, and most recently they've done a round of, and I quote, strategic reshoots. It has been
Waste more time and money.
it's been delayed 3 times. It received an R rating for strong, bloody violence and language. It is now slated to debut December 13th. You know, when all the top movies
All
release.
the top movies are
December
October, November, December. Everyone, that's the big months for movies.
Oh, man. You
Could
know,
release a movie like we could just play an episode of this in October and we'll make $1 million.
I mean, I don't know if it's just me. Maybe because I've read so many of these or I've looked at so many of these or I heard so many of these, but I start to hear like patterns. So here's a quote from him. This is from the director, J.C. Chander. He said,
It's
I'm
gonna go on to do
extremely,
Days of Our Lives next month.
I'm extremely,
in January.
I'm extremely proud of the work we have all done together on Craven. When the movie finally gets its chance to be seen, I think it's going to surprise the hell out of a lot of people.
I'm
Ooh.
extremely proud of the work we've done on this show. I think next episode's gonna surprise the hell out of people.
You said-
That's a
according-
callback.
according
And a
to
solid
Deadline-
burn.
According to Deadline, the delays allowed the director to sharpen the characters and tighten the plot, which tells the visceral story of how and why one of Marvel's most iconic villains came to be.
He's not iconic. Like, did you just have a buffet of cocaine? Like, just like Golden Corral. He's like scooping on. Like, I don't understand how you can be so disillusioned. Which I don't know.
mean,
You're pretty full of yourself. How do you do it? Explain. Elaborate to the common folk. How can you be even more? How can you be even more disillusioned where you just have?
I
no
might be
common
full of
fucking
myself,
sense?
but I'm not delusional. I'm not delusional. There's a
It's like
difference.
no common sense whatsoever. It's like they just don't watch TV at all. Like
Oh
what
God.
do you do? Like just go out and murder people for sport? Like I don't understand it.
Murder people. For
It's just
sport.
survive. What's it? Surviving the game. It's
Oh,
an Ice Cube
God.
movie where they murdered people.
Yeah. Let's
I don't
see.
know.
In other news,
I wish I could just be incredibly shitty at my job and make millions of dollars.
I mean, all right. All jokes
Blows my
aside,
fucking mind, like it's gonna be fucking great.
I mean,
It's like,
yeah,
have you never seen a movie in your fucking life? Like, what movies do you like?
all
I
jokes
need some
aside,
background.
I've
Someone should interview
pitched.
these people.
I've pitched actual movies and TV shows that would have been good, and instead we get things like Morbius and
Madam Web.
Madam Web, and
It's a company you go for. You got to go
always.
for. You got to
I should have went to
submit your
Sony.
script.
See,
with
I
the keys.
never pitched to Sony. I should have pitched it to Sony.
You gotta hit that bottom of the barrel, baby.
I went to all the good
He's like,
companies.
submit your script with an 8-ball.
Oh God. Anyway, Jesus. Oh. Anyway, what else? Lots, man. So much has happened. It's what's next? Patrick wants to know, how's the finger book going? It's going. That
doesn't have a fucking middle finger, so it's not going that well.
I'll be honest. I had to put it on the back burner. I had back-to-back
conventions.
conventions.
About it until now. But
no, I literally still have my note. Look,
we're pitching that shit. That's a blank sheet of paper.
I have my
Not
notes
fooling anyone.
right here. No, I had back-to-back
pitching
conventions.
it to Sony next week. Kevin Hart's gonna play the finger. We got him lined up.
Back-to-back conventions. Went on vacation. I got super sick, which I'm still recovering from. And now I'm back. So
I got sick too.
We'll be getting that done.
By the way, worst city you've ever been in? Fucking Seattle. Jesus fucking Christ. Talk about doing everything you can wrong.
Oh man, just bagging on Seattle.
Earth I will never go back to in my lifetime.
Oh man.
You could do heroin in the street, but you can't walk around with a beer in your hand.
No, I mean,
I could whip my dick out and take a piss in the street, but if I sip a beer, motherfucking in jail, sir.
Oh, God bless. Charles says, Mad Mike is overflowing with positivity tonight. That is true.
That's what I share with the world.
That is true. That's what he brings. That's why he's here, ladies and gentlemen.
Rainbows and sunshine.
Big Sarge in charge. He says it will be hot sauce in eyes worthy. Oh, I guess that he's talking
That's a good review. I like that.
Hot sauce and eyes worthy. I like it. But yeah, I don't know. You know what I've been on lately, man? The kick I've been on is the EA college football. God, I've been playing this. I've been playing so much of it. So, like, even now, I'm thinking about my 4-star recruits and getting their grades up.
Gay. Thinking about 18-year-old young men all day long.
I'm thinking about tight ends, fullbacks.
The tightest of ends. Fullest of backs.
Yeah.
For days.
Yes, sir.
Could
yes,
see
sir.
The sweat on their buns.
Just the graphics, man. You can see the stain, the sweat stains in their crotch. It's incredible. It's
yeah.
Right. That 4K. 4K just but yeah, no, we've been playing the hell out of that, and that's been fun. I think Madden just dropped, so the early access for Madden, so people are playing that.
Same game, new cover.
Hey, first of all, there's a all new physics driven
mechanic that nobody's gonna fucking use.
It's a whole new physics-based collision system that's been implemented. So,
So you get real-time concussions now?
You get CTE.
6 concussions, and they really, it's really, the whole screen goes blurry. You're seeing, 2 actually sees. Why is there 6 tight ends?
Oh, man. It's fun. It's funny you should say that, but, they have a system in the college game of the stadium noise, and when it gets so
when they
loud,
make it to the pros, they're too many concussions.
No, when you get in the stadium, when the stadium noise gets too loud, the play art starts to waggle, and you can't audible, and you'll call one play, but they'll come out in another play.
You get years of concussions, and the loud noise is fucking up your dome. You're like, God damn!
I was like, "That's the concussion simulator."
So true. This is real life. I've had a few. I know that's exactly
God.
my experience.
Like you tunnel vision, you can only see this much of the screen at a time. Yeah,
Like,
it's real
what's
fun.
wrong with you? Like, nothing. Why is there 3 of you? My head hurts so
God.
much.
All right, what other news do we have? I mean, man, to talk like this is weird because it's new news, but it feels like it's old news, and it has been over 3 years since the release of the original Squid Games show on Netflix, and we finally have a date. Netflix has announced that season 2 will be here, and it is December. Yeah, December of 2024. So, I mean,
They don't realize they filmed that. That's like real. It's just like a live show, you know?
Right,
Like how you
right.
watch Cops.
It's a snuff film, is what you're saying.
It's what happens in China every day.
Just,
It's communism.
oh man, I was gonna say there's the Apple factory. They call it Squid Games, but it's just the Apple.
You
the
want that
factory.
iPhone Air? You want that iPhone Air, player?
You want that
Comes
you want
with the
that
cost.
16. You want that
Want the
iPhone
best
16.
chips and that extra battery life.
Oh god, it's so
What?
bad. Going to hell. You're going to hell. So yeah, so that'll be. Is anybody look? Don't get me wrong. Squid Games when it came out was the hottest ticket in town. There was, I mean, it was all people talked about. People play the games.
Don't watch it. If
YouTube
you have
videos.
subtitles, I don't fucking watch it.
It was good. It was good. But
That shit drives me nuts.
But like, are people still gonna want to see it? Like,
No, it's Tiger King 2. Same shit, Netflix.
Uh-huh. Oh man, King running
They
his
did
mouth
the
in the
game
chest as
show
usual.
version of it, which bombed horribly too.
Yeah. That there was the game show. There was the Mr. Beast channel. There was a whole bunch of stuff. I feel like that you have a window to strike at something. So you either have to come out with it relatively soon afterwards, or you pull a Top Gun Maverick and wait 30 years and then release a sequel. But like 3.5, almost 4 years from season 1 to season 2 is I don't think people are
Unless you're HBO and you're fucking Game of Thrones and you're only going to give 3.25 episodes. They're the only people that make that shit happen.
I mean, it's possible. It's possible. Let's see what else.
I moved my head and I thought the little triangle was like the play symbol. And I was like, oh shit, I paused myself. We were talking about concussions. A minute ago.
Like, ooh, shiny.
Oh shit, I'm paused. I gotta play. Fuck.
Classic. In other news, we'll do this one last before we wrap it up for the night, or not the night, before the interview. Jesus Christ.
There's nothing else. We have nothing else going on.
It's been a long day. Something that's been in the works forever, and now that I just came back from MGSCon, I was kind of talking to some of the insider people, but one of the producers behind the upcoming Metal Gear Solid movie has given kind of a new update on the status of the film. This comes from Ari Arad, who's known for a lot of his work on different movies like Spider-Man and whatnot. And he said, for the better part of the past 2 decades, the movie adaptation for Konami's Metal Gear Solid game series has been in the works to some degree. And in recent years, they've picked up, steam. Originally, they were going to get Oscar Isaac. He had signed on to play Solid Snake in the movie, but reportedly he's kind of stepped away from the project. But they did say that the film's still happening. They said it's still in development. It's still in the kind of scripting phase, which I'm like, again, with the scripting phase thing, all people want is just make something as close to the game as we got. You look at shows like The Last of Us that stayed true to the material. The Walking Dead more or less stayed true to the material. Like all these successful franchises just stick to the material, because you get something like Borderlands that does its own thing and shocker, everyone hates it. Oh my God, who saw that coming? So, like the idea that you have to script, like sit someone down, play the video game, take notes and do that. And I promise you it'll be successful. But anyway, I digress.
Sounds easy, but it's not that easy.
I mean, I know, right? It's Hollywood. It's Hollywood.
Chiefs and Indians.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to toss to a short break. When we come back, we are going to be joined with our very, very special guest of the night, Mr. John Wesley Shipp. So stay tuned. Put all your questions for him in the comments. We'll go through them, and it's going to be a really fun, lively chat. Mike, thanks for hanging out with us.
We'll take a breath here in a minute.
Eventually, I will breathe between things that I'm doing. Johnny Rico is solid snake. You guys are funny. All right, guys, let me toss to a quick break, and we'll be back with more after this. Mike, we'll see you after the interview.
Sure, it's in my contract.
You're paid to be here. Gotta love it. All right, guys, we'll be back with more right after this.
You're listening to the sounds of WTF Nation Radio.
Hey, you there? Yeah, it is right, you. Let me ask you something, alright? Where the hell do you think that you're going? Oh, would you think because the show's going to commercial that means you get to just walk away? Well, CQ asked me to pass on the little message, alright? And it says, I'll be back.
You're watching Pop Culture Warrior. The force is strong. They have the high ground.
Broadcasting live from the basement of the Pentagon. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back to Pop Culture Warrior. Oh, man, I'm excited. You guys know I've been jazzed up and energized all night. It's finally here. It's finally now. Welcome back to Pop Culture Warrior. I am your host, and ladies and gentlemen, tonight we have a very special guest with us. He is an accomplished Emmy Award-winning actor known for numerous roles, including Barry Allen / The Flash in the original 1990 series. He played Henry Allen and Jay Garrick in the CW's The Flash reboot. He's also beloved for his role as Mitch Leary in Dawson's Creek. Let's not waste any time. I mean, I could read this guy's bio all day, but you know what? Let's just dive right into this fascinating journey in his world into acting and television. Please welcome everyone, the incredibly talented, the amazing John Wesley Shipp, everybody.
Oh, hey, how are you, CQ?
They're going crazy. They're going crazy for you.
I can hear him.
First of all, thank you so much for being here tonight and doing this. It is a great honor. I'm a huge fan, both from way back the original to modern day. You're awesome, man. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Let's get right to it because I mean, there's so much to cover, and I want to get to as much of it as possible. I'll give you the same question we ask every guest we have right out the gate. What is, if you have, your military connection?
Well, my uncle was in Korea. I mean, does that count?
Absolutely.
I have friends who are in the military. I have a lot of actually connections in law enforcement. A very good friend of mine, Chris Garabino, was a first responder at 9/11. He now lives in North Carolina. So if he's listening, hello, Chris. And yeah, I played a gunnery sergeant on Jag. So he was a pretty badass character, actually. I did Jag twice, but it was the first time I did it. This, Gunnery Sergeant Granger, and
There you go.
yeah.
See, and you were so nervous. Like, I don't have a. You have a connection. It's subtle. But you get family.
It's
The
subtle.
roles. But it's there. It's a great
I'm
connection.
not in the military, but I have played one on TV.
It's like I'm not a member, but I've played one on TV.
First of all, to all the veterans watching, I want to express my heartfelt gratitude and appreciation. Thank you both for being here and for your service. And that's not lip service. That's for real.
That's listen. If you took the time to be on this show, it's definitely not lip service. All right, we appreciate it. We joke all the time. We're like, look, Tom Cruise ain't coming on this show. Okay, people would they go, oh, they're big deal. But like the people that appreciate it, like taking the time out and doing this, it shows more than anything that you want to take the time to sit and chat with us, and that's so awesome of you. So thank you for that. And like I said to you earlier, this is a pop culture show, so we talk about all the nerdy and geeky things and the love, the passion, that same feeling you get at a Comic-Con. That's what we're all about here. So let me ask you, as we get to know you, what do you geek out about? What's the thing that you love, that you're passionate about?
Well, I've been in this franchise for 34 years. You know what I mean? 34, yeah, just about that. I've played 5 different characters on 4 different shows across 3 different networks over 34 years. I've been myself, Barry Allen. I have voiced Professor Zoom, my own worst enemy. I played my father, Henry Allen, on the new show, and then I was my mentor, Jay Garrick. So, and then I brought Flash 90 back. So it's been quite an introduction to this wacky, wonderful, crazy world of pop culture that we're here to talk about. And that's, what I really enjoy vis-a-vis this franchise is, you mentioned earlier when we were talking, you mentioned conventions. The ability, I think conventions really serve a great sort of purpose, in our society, because we leave everything at the door. We check our egos, our religion, our politics. We check everything at the door, and we come in and we get to relate to each other person to person. I can't tell you the things that I have been told, personal things, deeply personal things, as well as the celebratory part of it, by meeting people who, for one reason or another, have found The Flash or some element of my work through the years meaningful. So, yeah, I get very excited. I'm not one of those that sits there and signs and never looks up. I'm like, up, I'm down, I'm up and down, I love to engage.
It's so true, and honestly, you can tell, and this is something we've talked about on this show and in other places that, and I mean this to no offense to the people out there, but there are people that, hey, they're there to make a living. They're there to cash a check. They're there to do what it is to stay in the relevancy. But then there's those people that you can just tell when you're sitting there and watching them and talking and interacting, like they love it, if not as much as, maybe even more than you, a chance. Because I can imagine being an actor, especially unlike, let's say, like a play where you get that instant feedback.
Get the feedback.
Being on camera, it's you're putting it out there and then just hoping it lands. And now this is your opportunity to talk to the people and say, no, I got it. It hit me. It landed, and you get that feedback, right?
Right. Absolutely. Well, The Flash what was The Flash? 50 years old in comics by the time I got to it in 1990. So when I first started going to conventions, I was well aware that there were many people among the hundreds sometimes thousands in my Q&As and my panels that knew more about the character than I did. So I would often turn the question around. I also never liked just sitting up, it's like there's this invisible barrier. I'd drive him crazy because I would always want a wireless mic, and I would go out into the audience, and take questions, and I would probe people. I'd say, well, why the Flash? Why specifically the Flash? He's not particularly a badass. He's not a vigilante. What is it about the Flash that draws you specifically to that character? And then we even get more granular when they'll ask me, what's your favorite episode of all the characters you've played? I'll say, well, what's yours? Why? How old were you when you bonded with this character? People's reactions. I've been an actor for 45 years professionally. Okay. And I remember once there was the very beautiful woman, actually. She was head of finances for this convention that I did, and so tailored and so professional. And she came and she introduced herself, and she actually first found out about me from Guiding Light in the 80s. And we hugged, and she broke down in my arms. And I'm doing the math. Okay, if we're talking Guiding Light, that was X number of years ago. She was probably 14, 15 years old. And then where my mind goes is, I wonder what was going on in her life that caused her to project onto the character that I was playing certain characteristics that were so meaningful to her. So I can't tell you. I have people say, I watched the original Flash with my father, and now I'm watching the CW Flash with my kids, and you're the thread that weaves through that. And I get choked up. I'm like, I say stop, or we're both going to be standing here crying. Okay, and that's so not cool.
It's not a good look for a superhero. Come on now.
Not a good look. Not a good look. Although Barry's he's a pretty sensitive guy.
He's a sensitive guy. We love him for it.
Yeah.
So touching on cons, because I'm always fascinated by the people that go and do these things. Any crazy stories that you can share? Any wild experiences? Only because I've had people come on and say, like, somebody gave me their so-and-so's ashes as a gift, or doing the tattooed name, or any, I'm sure you get some pretty interesting happenings at your booth.
About the most interesting thing that immediately leaps to mind, people are always giving me things. Of course, a funny one is on Dawson's Creek, my character in the 5th season was killed in a car crash. There was a lot of trouble going on, and then the clouds parted and everything's fine. And I'm singing along to the radio, eating an ice cream cone, and the ice cream goes down, and I go to get it, and then bam, I'm gone. So I have had people bring me ice cream cone pins. I'm like, that's funny. It's dark, but it's funny. It's pretty funny. But I remember in Mexico City, God, that was a huge convention, 150,000 people. And there was a guy who stood off to one side with a mold of clay. And while I was talking to people, he was molding in fact, I have it in the office. He was molding a likeness of me, a bust of me in clay. And then by about the second day it finished, he showed it to me. He said, now I'm going to go bake this in the oven and finish it and and he gave that to me as a gift, But yeah, I have so much flashabilia, it's like my office is like wall to wall, either action figures. That was a trip. The first action figure was the Mattel Flash, Barry Allen, of me. And someone brought it, and there I am. I'm like, it took me 60 years, but I'm an action figure. That was a surreal experience. And now, of course, there's a Jay Garrick pop. There's a Jay Garrick figure this big. There was the molded limited edition Barry Allen. Yeah, so it's amazing to me, really.
I can only imagine what that is like to see your likeness in the 6-inch and the 12-inch and the Funko Pop and all that. Like, it's got to be trippy.
It is. But like with the clay model it was a limited edition. I don't know if they did 1,000, whatever they did, but they were all numbered. but I mean, they got my broken nose. I mean, from 3/4 angle, I would think that was a mini me. I mean, the detail is so specific, and they're so beautifully crafted. Many of them. But it's a trip. It's how did I end up here? Because truthfully, I was not a comic book fan growing up. I have to be honest. When they said to me in 1989 that there was going to be this show, they were looking for an actor. They said The Flash. I said, "You mean Flash Gordon?" Of course, now I act highly insulted if anyone says that.
Right,
It's like,
of course.
no, The Flash, get it right. And just to step into this world and to end up playing so many different parts over such a long time, it's been a fascinating experience.
I can't imagine. So let's take a pause and rewind the tape. Let's go back
Yeah.
early. Let's go back to the start of your career. Kind of paint us a picture. I mean, when did the passion for acting start? What was the early days like for you?
Well, I started as a music major at Indiana University in Bloomington, Indiana. And after a couple years of that, I switched, no, 1 year of that, I switched to the theater department with a minor in music. And then I dropped out. I did summer theater in Michigan with a professor and his girlfriend who were moving to New York. And they said, listen, if you go back to school, go to school in New York so you can be making your professional contacts while you're training. So I moved up to New York, a sophomore in college, drop out. Probably shouldn't say that. Kids stay in school. Whatever, do what you have to do. And scared my parents to death, really, truthfully, because my dad had struggled so hard to get his education after he had 3 kids, working 2 jobs, and so that scared them a lot. But I sort of moved up with a family. It was Mark Bego, Lynn Thigpen, CCH Pounder, Peter Saputo. So we were all, I came up in the late 70s, moved to New York. And they said, this is how you do it. You get a Ross reports, you get a list of all the agents, you make the rounds, you give them your headshots, you follow it up with a phone call, you follow it up with a postcard. You do workshops for no money. You wait tables because that's a flexible job. And I did that for about 2.5 years, and finally got an agent. And the first job that signaled the end of my actor waiter days. And if there are actors out there that are supporting themselves by waiting tables, I always say, you're an actor. If you're training, if you're studying, if that's your passion, I don't care what you're doing to support yourself. If that's your passion, that's what you are. It's like, someone will come up to me and say, I'm an actor. Well, I'm waiting tables. I go, no, 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 no. Do you study? Do you train? Do you take it seriously? You're an actor, But anyway, I did Showtime's first original movie for television. I'm a relic. Showtime doesn't even exist anymore, But they did a best of off-Broadway series, Passion of Dracula, Me and My Girl, and The Dirtiest Show in Town, which was by this iconic writer out of La Mama and Wonder Horse Theater, experimental theater in Lower Manhattan. And my grandmother was like, of the 3, did you have to pick The Dirtiest Show in Town? I'm like, that's the one they offered me. The next month, I was cast as Kelly Nelson on Guiding Light, and they got letters. There was this one woman who wrote every couple of months, don't you know that he was in a show called Showtime, and there was part nudity, and there was this, and there was that. But luckily, they didn't fire me. And so that was the beginning of the career. I was good guy Kelly Nelson. Kevin Bacon was my dressing room mate and my rival for the affections of the young leading lady at the time. And then I jumped over to World Turns. The writer from Guiding Light knew that there was more to me than just running around in a Speedo and singing You Needed Me, because that's what I did for 3 years on Guiding Light, and he wrote this wild part opposite Julianne Moore. And I started this really good guy, the answer to all her hopes and dreams. And then I turned into this complete, crazed, unhinged psychotic, kidnapped her, and I mean, and ended up being stabbed in the back with a crystal cylinder during a whole violent scene up there. But that was how I got my first Emmy. So played a good guy for 3.5 years, never nominated. Played a psycho for 10 months, my first Emmy. And then the following year, I went to Santa Barbara to play a very abusive two women tennis player with Marcy Walker. A. Martinez threw me through a plate glass window and busted my knee, could never play tennis again, cried. That's the key. And if you could try to redeem a real bad guy. And that was my second Emmy. And then after that, it just kind of rolled out. I did Broadway, did a play with Harvey Fierstein. I want a T-shirt that said, I survived Harvey. That's a joke, actually, because Harvey is a great guy and was wonderful to work with. And then I did off Broadway, and then finally the call came to do Neverending Story 2, and then that guy brought me to LA and became my manager. And then The Flash was shortly thereafter. I was cast in 1990, and it's just, I could go on and on. It's been 45 years. How much time do we, but
so then in
that's how it started.
No, I mean it's
everyone's like, hey.
No, this is they come here for this specific conversation. It's fascinating because for as much as we know you from one thing or love you from another thing, there's so much there. I have such a respect for actors because very, very few is it ever like, oh, my first thing was this big thing. A lot of actors have to work at it and be in the business and beat the streets and do those parts and the day player and the background guy and
listen, my very first job, my big break, I was finally on television, New York, and I was gonna be like an under 5 on One Life to Live, I think it was, and what did it? I said, I'm going to be there. No, that was an extra, but my face was going to be on TV, right? You want to know the only way they knew it was me? Because you saw me, like that much of me. And I walked through the scene, and the only way you knew it was me was I was wearing my own sweater. The second thing, I was going to do an under 5 on All My Children, and I had this big scene with Susan Lucci. It was more than 5 lines. It was one scene. And that was a scene with her, and, we were going to, and so we did the dress rehearsal, the camera blocking, and I'm sitting in the makeup room waiting for the taping, and the director comes in and he says, I don't know how to say this, but the show's long and we had to cut your scene. And so that was my second experience. But Susan and I went on to do Fantasy Island together. I circled back to All My Children after Flash 1990 to play another psychotic for 5 or 6 months. Susan swears, because Susan's like 5 feet tall, that when I met her on the set of Fantasy Island, I said, oh, but you're so tiny. And I picked her up by the elbows and started doing shoulder press. I said, Susan, I did not do that. She said, yes, you did. Yes, you did. I said, all right, maybe I did.
I mean,
but it's been, you have to just keep at it, if it's your passion,
That's amazing. My claim to fame is I grew up in New York City, and as a high school student, I was walking down the street and they were shooting an episode of NYPD Blue. And so I'm walking in the background of a shot on TV. So yes, I also have a couple credits.
I did NYPD Blue. I played a drug addicted cop first season. And
there you go.
I showed more of me than I ever figured I would ever show in primetime. That was the big deal. Everybody was naked from the back on NYPD Blue that season. So that was another one my grandmother wasn't fond of. But oh well. Emma Bryant in Virginia Beach, Virginia. She was God. Oh, what are Ruth and Wilma going to say about this?
I love it. So let's see. And we do have a couple questions in the chat. So here, let's get to one of them from Thanos. It looks like, hey, John, hugs from Chai and me. I guess maybe you know.
All right.
Wanted to ask a question that I had originally had for you and Danny, if The Flash had gone second season, who would you have wanted to work with in the cast? Like, I guess, who would you have wanted to bring into in the cast?
Good Lord. When you stop and you, first of all, kudos to our casting director, April Webster, multiple Emmy Award winning cast director, lost in so many things. She's now iconic, but I mean, our guest stars were Angela Bassett, Bryan Cranston, Michael Champion, David. He played the Mirror Master. Anyway, it was just one after. Jerry Ryan was one of our. So Joyce Heiser. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. We had such great guest stars because when we premiered in 1990, there hadn't been a treatment of a superhero show taken seriously, for adults before on television. We were being developed on the back lot at Warner Brothers at the same time as Tim Burton's Batman, around a new aesthetic, a way to tell these stories and to take the people inside the suits seriously, not spoof them. There was comedy. I'm not saying it was realistic, but we aimed to be truthful within the parameters, of our story. And so a lot of people wanted to do our show. And of course, Mark Hamill, actually, from what I just learned from Danny, because he's a huge comic book fan, and he had said, if you ever do the Trickster, and it just so happened they were developing a treatment for the Trickster, and he came in and blew the roof off of that role, for 2 episodes. Yeah, so it's just been, I don't know. It would have been fascinating to find out who might have shown up.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Where it could have gone. So speaking about that, obviously, playing Barry Allen, the Flash in the 1990 series, and then getting to come back and do Henry Allen and Jay Garrick in the CW version. What was it like? I can't imagine for you stepping back into this kind of world, even though it's not the same character, but it's in that world of that character, and you're conversing with that character. I mean, what was it like for you coming back after so many years to that part?
First of all, dude, in 1990 and 1991, the suits were not as user friendly, shall we say. And so I was like, it was very difficult. It was very hot. It was glued to my face. The hours were unbelievable because we had to do live action practical effects, which a lot of shows are going back to now. People want to see, and they want to know that, our awesome stunt people are risking their lives for what they're seeing on screen. And to that end, a shout out to my stuntman on Flash 1990, Dane Farwell, who was a remarkable guy, both a solid presence on the set. It's like, but we would be in at 7 a.m. on Monday. We'd work till 10 at night. We'd come 10 on Tuesday, work till 2 a.m. Wednesday. We'd come in at 2 p.m. By Wednesday, we were working all night. By Thursday and Friday, we were tenting in the back lot at Warner Brothers to shoot day for night. And the studio executives would be coming to work, and we'd be going home. And you guys are out of your mind. So it just took so much time in those days that by the time I got to the end of a 22 episode season, I was beat because we didn't have a big cast like the CW Flash. We had Amanda Pays, Alex Desire, and me, and then our guest stars. Julio, Tita McGee, Barry Allen. And so I remember we were shooting The Trial of the Trickster, the very last scene, and we were always in some location in Southeast Los Angeles because the art direction was very specific. We were actually Emmy nominated for art direction. It was like 40s, 50s, 60s meets 90s. It's like the 60s had never happened. Which, when you stop and think about it, it's kind of my experience. Did it happen? Yeah. But yeah, so we were there and we were fighting the sun coming up one more time, trying to get the shot done before it's too bright to shoot it. And they finally yell cut. I'm in this suit, I'm soaking wet. One more time, they yell cut on the final scene. I ripped the wings off and threw them in the air. Mark Hamill almost lost his mind. He was like, "Don't let him get away!" You know, he was climbing over cables and around garbage cans. He got the wings, or at least he got one of them, because Danny said he has the other one. And I swore I would never get into another superhero suit as long as I live. Well, never say never, you know. Uh, but I love the way it came about. It came about in a really organic way. When I had heard how Jeff Johns had kind of blown up the Allen family, how suddenly Henry Allen was wrongfully convicted of killing his wife in front of his 10-year-old son and had been in Iron Heights prison for 14 years. I'm like, what? You know, the great iconic Emmett Walsh, who we recently lost within the last year, what played my father. Well, he was not wrongfully convicted of killing Priscilla Pointer in front of it. That wasn't my origin story. I was always like, well, that's dark. That's interesting. I was like, if they might want to have completely their own thing. If they would have, I would have been fine. I had been the only live action Flash representing for 24 years. You know, that's a long time. I would have gladly, but I heard about the new Henry Allen. I said, if they come to me, that's the role I would want. Because yeah, it's the same franchise, but it's a completely new character and a completely different origin story. And I knew a couple of things. If Barry was the only one who knew I was innocent, and I'm in prison, and all of our scenes are in Iron Heights, I knew it would carve out a really special place in the midst of an action adventure show for Grant and I. Everyone was saying, Jay Garrick, we want you. I said, I understand why you're saying that. You want the torch passed. I said, but they're doing it in a less on the nose way. It's a father-son blessing, you know, the hand on the glass, so that we'd reach a fever pitch, you know, that it's all this action, the wonderful special effects they can do now. And then suddenly we do an establishing shot of Iron Heights. The lights would go down, the music would get quiet. Grant Gustin and I would walk into that telephone booth there in the prison, pick up the phone receivers, look at each other and tell the truth. And it was such a unique experience. For he knew I had been the Flash, you know. I knew that he was taking on a huge iconic role, maybe what some of his insecurities might be. And there I am playing his father. Well, I felt that way toward him. I just wanted, once I found out how good he was and how truthful of an actor that he was, I was like, oh yeah, oh, I can. And from then on, it was like, how can I hold up a mirror to this young actor to show him all the terrific things that I see in him that I know will make him the Barry Allen for today. And I got to tell you, sometimes we were doing a scene, those beautifully written scenes, you know, Andrew Kreisberg, Greg Berlanti. I can't go through all the Jeff Johns was an executive. So many writers, but the scenes, the father-son scenes, they were. People said, "How'd you work up the emotion for those scenes?" And I said, "We never had a problem. The problem was not letting the emotion run away with you, because they were so packed, and there were times when I didn't know if Henry was talking to Barry, if old Flash was talking to new Flash, or if John was talking to Grant."
That's awesome.
You know,
that's awesome.
And we couldn't do our business because there we are. We're sitting there, you know, all we could do was tell the truth, you know, which for me is the purest form of acting. You make a connection and you tell the truth. I remember once he had a scene where he had to break down and cry, and he had been shooting hours and hours and hours. I came on the set. He looked a mess. And he said, "John, I just don't know if I have the juice today. I just don't." I said, not going to be any waterworks. I said, that's the last thing you need to be thinking about. Let's just walk in, take a minute, make a connection, and say the words to each other. And when the time came, man, he was just gone. He was dissolved. It was one of the most special experiences I've ever had with another actor, both because who he is and the setup, the fact that I had played the character, the fact that he was taking it on, the fact that I'm now playing his father. And the fact that the scenes were so beautifully written, it was just, I will always treasure those scenes.
Absolutely. I mean, that's beautiful. Like, that's the stuff that you want to hear. That's the stuff that you believe. Because honestly, as only a fan, as only a person that has watched, the scenes between you two as father and son were true. They're beautiful. They're beautiful. And like, I got daddy issues, right? Like, and I know a lot of people got daddy issues, and you're just
Who
like,
doesn't?
oh, you're like, oh God, I just want to hold my dad. Like, you know, and it's so beautiful. And like you said, in a series that was known for flashy and special effects and over the topness, it was always those scenes in particular that were so grounded and so raw and so emotional. And it was just amazing. It was amazing to
Thank
see
you.
the two of you work. It really was. And this is not me blowing smoke. I really think I was a big fan of the Arrow verse, you know, the whole Arrow universe. But I do
Absolutely.
think Flash really nailed it with the stories, you know, the balancing of fun and silly, but serious and heartfelt. And it was
Yeah.
always about less about the superhero dramatics and more about the people, the characters.
Who are these people? Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
What would happen to an ordinary guy if he got extraordinary powers?
Yeah.
You know, this is a conversation I go into with my Q&As. I said, you know, we each of us have a gift that nobody else has. And that if we weren't on this planet, whatever that thing is, that vein of gold, I heard somebody refer to it as, we each have a vein of gold. And if we weren't on the planet, that vein of gold would not be brought into being. And so our purpose is to find out what that is and to serve that purpose to the best of our ability. Well, that's reflected in certainly in the story of Barry Allen. Suddenly he has these powers. In my version, he wanted to get rid of them immediately. He didn't want to be a super. It wasn't like, okay, I'm going to be a Hollywood superhero. You know, it's like, I don't want to know from this until my brother's killed. And then it's on. I want to avenge the death of my brother, you know, and what happens? I always felt in the original series, by the way, which has just come out on Blu-ray on June 25th, they went back in. Warner Archives did a remarkable thing. They didn't just up-res the whole thing. They got the original film and they went scene by scene and did 4K up-reses of the original negatives.
Wow.
They even went back to the special effects and just judged them because they were on film. You know, we originally they were digital, and the lady at Warner Brothers insisted that we put them on that Danny Bilson and Paul DeMeo, our creator, executive producers, writers, directors, wonderful guys. Everything I knew about comics at that time, I learned from them. And they were upset because they were digital effects that looked so cool, but the lady at Warner Brothers insisted that they transfer them to film, which then when it went on the air, it didn't quite look as good as it looked to them originally. But had she not done that, they would not have been able to go in and come up with the Blu-ray, which looks so wonderful. I look at it, I've started watching it again now after 35, 34 years, 33 years, 35, 34. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Math is not my strong suit. And I'm seeing all the things I never saw before. I'm like, wow, I had no idea all that was going on behind me. You know, it's like, but it's really wonderful. Also the sound, you know, Shirley Walker's beautiful score. We had a 60-piece orchestra scoring our pilot. Our episodes were scored with a 38, 39-piece orchestra. You know, you can hear all that now, and you can see the art direction and everything that they were doing. They were so specific and so careful in doing it. I don't know how I got off on that tangent, but the Blu-ray, and I just happen to have it right here.
Yes, absolutely. I was gonna actually ask you about that. Like, you know, is there any obviously besides the episodes, is there anything that was added in there? Is there any like what can fans expect? Just no commentary, nothing. You got to give us commentary.
No, they spent all the money. I forgot how many millions they spent just on the way they did it, going back to the original negatives, 4K scans of the scene by scene, and they did such a beautiful job. I know Danny Bilson has talked about doing a podcast where various ones of us, we come on and we talk about what was going on during the shooting of some of
That
those
would be amazing.
those episodes. You know how I would be in the suit for 20 minutes and you'd wring me out. You know, they'd pull the gloves off and they'd be full of sweat up to the wrist, and they just turn the gloves off and dump the sweat out. You know, and all those kinds of things. But yeah, it was a year in my life that when it was 6 o'clock, I didn't know if it was AM or PM. I had no idea.
And I
Yeah.
mean, it's got to be wild in just man. There's a lot of layers to this, so I'm imagining that like, okay, well, it was short lived, sure, but there is a passionate fan base for it. It's something that here we are, 30 plus years later, still talking about, and people like. I want to go back and watch it. I'm having this conversation with you. I want to go back and I want to watch the episodes. Like, how does that feel for you as someone who's like, that was such a small moment in your life, but has become such a large thing in there?
It's nothing I ever expected, because when I came to it, I was very hesitant. When they said they wanted me to audition for this comic book treatment for television, I immediately thought of the way characters had been. You know, I had my 2 Emmys. I'd been on Broadway. I had delusions of being the serious, you know.
Sure.
And I was like, first of all, hey, listen, the 60s Batman series, I was there every week. I loved it. I'm not dissing that at all. It wasn't where my talents or my interests lie. And I remember April Webster, casting director again, talking to me and saying, I said, but you know, April, all my training is in truth of the moment and bringing my personal experience and making things as real and as truthful as I possibly can. She said, that's why we're coming to you. She said, if it were going to be what you're describing, do you think I'd be involved? She said, do me a favor. Just read Danny Bilson and Paul DeMeo's hour-and-a-half initial movie that kicked off the series. She said, just read it, and then we'll talk. And I'm reading this script where this unblessed son of a cop family, where real cops work the streets, right? And his older brother is his dad's favorite. But I go to the crime lab so that my mom might not have to, she wouldn't have to be afraid that all of the men in her family might not come home that night, you know? And so I was CSI before CSI was cool though, you know? And, but I'm in the crime lab, you know, mom says, be careful. Dad says, what's he going to do? Stub his toe in a footprint, you know? And then he gets these powers that would make his dad so proud, and he can't tell him. Once his brother, that wonderful scene with Emmett Walsh and I by my older brother, who is named Jace, after he gets killed by the motorcycle gang. And I tell him, Dad, I'm going to go after those guys. I'm going to get those guys. And he says, Barry, how many times have I told you, don't point a gun unless you have a bullet in the chamber? And I'm like, I've got the bullet, but I can't tell him what it is. Well, by now I'm totally hooked, you know, into this character. And I said, yeah, sure. I'll audition for this. And that's how it happened.
It's incredible, man. I got goosebumps over here, man. You're killing me. And so when you come back and you're now, you know, doing the CW stuff, was there ever a moment, you know, that you like a heart to heart with Grant and just like let me tell you about putting on the suit? Like did he ever ask you for advice or anything like that about the old stuff?
I was asked the same question when I played Dawson's dad on Dawson's Creek. Do you give advice to the young cast? And my response is always the same. Oh God, I hope not. You know, because that would have been insufferable. I was there for him You know, the only thing I ever encouraged him to do that first season, when they were still gluing his mask to his face, they stopped. They figured out a way not to have to do that. And he was so hot. At one point, they had a cooling tent for him and he's leaning against the wall and he's, he's like sweating. I said, man, go to your cooling tent. He said, yeah, but everybody's over here and I'll be in there alone. I said, I'll go with you. So we went over there, and of course, he's so exhausted. We sit down across from each other, and within 5 minutes, he's asleep because he had been sleeping.
Yeah.
And so finally, he woke up. But that's the only thing. I did say something also first season to the ADs, assistant directors, when they were mapping out the work for a future shoot, and they would have us. They'd have a double, and they'd have a stunt person, and the person playing the Flash in the Flash has a lot of work to do. And they were talking about a long distance shot, a running action shot that was a wide shot that was in the distance. You wouldn't be able to tell who was in the suit. So they said, I overheard them. And they were like, should we use a double for that? And they said, Grant can do it. And I said, if I may, if you want your lead to survive this season, anytime it's possible to put a double in the suit, do it. Because it's just between Barry Allen and then the Flash. It's a dual role, and I know as hard as it was for me making it physically through that season, I remember at the beginning, I think I did my first Barry Allen scenes after I'd been in the suit for 12 hours, and it was like 2 a.m. and then I had been the Flash, and so then they pulled me out of the suit, 2 a.m, and I'm Barry Allen. I was like, dudes, let's try not to do that again. And then they go Barry Flash, which meant they were putting the glue on. They were taking the glue off. I was raw, I was breaking out from all the sweat in the suit because they couldn't clean them. $100,000 in 1990 to build 4 suits. And they would hang them in my trailer and spray them with Lysol, And I said, we finally had to lay some ground rules. I said, let's try to do the Barry Allen scenes first, then the Flash scenes. If you absolutely have to, do the Flash scenes and then but don't go Barry Flash, because, it was killing me. So I tried to help, to answer your question, in the CW show, little ways like that. If I heard something, because they didn't know. They're like, oh, it's easier, let Grant do it. Anytime you can take the pressure off of him, do it.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's incredible. I'm so glad you did, because it makes sense. Why wear your guy out? He's the star. I mean, he's the Flash. You got to protect the Flash. And speaking,
I have to tell you this one story about that, because him being the Flash and being #1 on the call sheet, and watching him assume and come to an understanding of what being #1 on the call sheet meant beyond just playing the part, the responsibility. This is your show, and all the ramifications and responsibilities that come with that. But there was this one day, we were working all day. We had this huge scene, Jay Garrick and Barry Allen. And he had gotten a glimpse that maybe Iris was going to be killed. And we had this big confrontation. And, we weren't supposed to shoot it till the following week, but we had bad weather. They said, guess what? You're shooting that scene in 3 hours. And I said, what do you mean? We have no time to study it. I'm sorry, there's no other scene we can go to. We have to, And so we're together waiting to do the scene that we had to do that day. And he's like, we have to do that big scene today. And I said, yeah, I know. He said, I was hoping you would say no. Grant says to me. I looked at him and I said, Grant, you're #1 on the call sheet. And he said, but you're John Wesley Shipp. I said, well, that's very sweet. It's very endearing, but man, this is your show. I am guesting on your show, but we got through it. But I thought it was fascinating to watch him brilliantly assume the role, both as an actor and as a character, to work his way. When they first cast him, people said, daytime TV audiences are the same. They're like, he's too young. I said, well, make the show a hit. 4 years, he won't be too young. Oh, he played a bad guy on Glee. He can't play a superhero. I said, wait. When I got to The Flash, I had 2 Emmys playing psychotics. Oh, it's a tradition. Oh, tradition. Oh, all right.
Yeah.
And they'd say, well, the suit isn't big. It's too thin. I said, think about it aerodynamically. This is 2014. The dude's thing is speed, So, get with the program. Yeah. 24 years ago, we were in the Mark McGuire, Jose Canseco, Arnold Schwarzenegger post, steroid hangover. Everything had to be bigger than life. But this is a new way. And you better make it a hit if you want it to stay on the air and you want it to develop. So, to the degree that I could contribute in that way, I did.
I mean, and I mean, to your point, I mean, think Olympians, right? Like they're wearing the skin tight and even the bike riders have like the helmet that's pointed and like it's all aerodynamic, right? It's all, gotta go fast. So I love what they did on that show and how it was represented. Last thing about the CW version anyway, here we are, what's about the 10th anniversary of when it first premiered. What do you think, given, where you started with the character, this show, obviously DC did a movie version that was different. And now that, there's obviously a future of that, I'm sure the character will be brought back and there'll be a future for it. What do you feel is the legacy of this show? For audiences, for The Flash, for you? I mean, talk about that for a minute.
Of which show? The CW
show. Yeah,
the current one?
10 years
well,
past.
I think, Grant clearly, by virtue of the fact that he did it for 9 seasons. It's like I told people it took me 24 years to get a second season. They all did 9 seasons. I tell them I did 10 seasons.
Yeah.
But I think he sort of redefined how we look at the role. And the fact that he was 10 years younger than I was when I did it, also lended to the wonderful vulnerability that he was able to portray so that we could really get inside of who this guy is. Because I always felt my job is to play Barry Allen. That's my primary job. And to make him real enough and relatable enough so that people would identify with me, so that when I went into the suit, y'all would come with me. And then, the Danny Elfman theme would come, the Shirley Walker music, the special effects, the music, the lighting effect, and then we're inside the suit and y'all are with me looking from inside out to the world out there. That was always what I felt. And I think Grant, by virtue of the truth of his performance, I think he definitely has put his stamp on the character. No, I'm amazed how many people still relate to my Barry Allen, which this is the 34th anniversary on September 20th of it premiering on CBS. And still talk about specific granular things that I did in my characterization. And everybody has their favorites. But I think the legacy of the CW show is that I would say, people say, well, who do you think is the best Flash? I said, well, all I can say is Grant Gustin is my Flash, And so to that extent, I think he's really put a stamp on it. We were completely different. We didn't do serialized drama. We didn't have a large cast that had quite as much serialized drama. Danny and Paul wanted to do an hour movie a week. That was their template, so that you could come in and you could watch it and you could have a full experience. We were also dark. We were darker than the CW show. I mean, at one point I'm mind controlled by the trickster. I'm catching bullets and throwing bullets back at the police. You know, I mean, there were some things that we did that as I'm rewatching it, my TV's over here. That's why I'm looking over there. I'm rewatching it and I'm going, wow, I can't believe we got away with that. You know, that stuff that we would not be able to get away with doing today. So they're two very different shows built around the same character, but to be brought back in and to be, I don't mean Joe the elevator repair guy and the camera goes by and you go, wait, didn't he used to play the Flash?
Cameo, yeah.
To come in and contribute first as Henry Allen, and I didn't know they were going to turn me into Jay Garrick until practically a couple weeks before they did it. And then I'm Jay Garrick, and then they bring my 1990 Flash back for Crisis and give me a completion to my storyline. It's nothing I ever expected. And I am mindful of my good fortune, and I'm very grateful because all those producers, they grew up on the David Nutter, Emmy Award-winning director who directed our pilot in many episodes. You know, they all grew up on the 1990s. That was the only live action Flash for 24 years, as I've said. So, you know, it was, I don't know where I was going with that, but anyway.
No, I mean, you nailed it. You nailed it. Absolutely. And in honor of too, or in promoting the Blu-ray, I know you're going to be at New York Comic Con in October. It's one of my favorite conventions to be at. Is there anything specific you're really excited for? Or do they have a plan for you? Are you doing something specific or just
I have been invited to be at a comic book vendor booth.
Nice.
So I'll be with the comic book artists whom I love and respect. I always go. Joe Stanton drew me a Jay Garrick for me at Mitch Halleck's Terrificon, you know, several years ago that I have hanging in there. Brett Breeding did an inking of my 1990 Flash. I have that on the wall. You know, I go up to these guys and I say thank you, because if it weren't for you guys, there would be no us. You know, so I'm gonna be doing that. I'll be in Chattanooga in October, and I have a series of things that I can't announce yet, which may or may not include the rest of the Flash cast also at the same time, and may or may not be occurring in cities like, San Francisco, Edmonton, Orlando, but they haven't been announced yet. This is all speculation on my part.
Speculative. We're just it's hypotheticals at this point. You know,
it
could be.
It's purely hypothetical.
You know, I know another one is that you're doing a play, right? Or did you just finish it? Sorry, I
just did it. That's okay, man. Thanks for bringing it up. Thanks for knowing about it.
Of course.
No, we did a staged reading of Tracy Letts' play Superior Donuts. Tracy Letts is the Pulitzer Prize winning playwright who wrote August Osage County, which people might know. It's beautiful writing. We had a great cast of 9 terrific actors, and we did it at the Fairfield Theater in Fairfield, Connecticut. And it developed into so much more than a staged reading by virtue of the people that we have. I've been lucky that I've worked with people who aren't like, I'm going to do this. You talked about it, collect a paycheck, but everybody wanting to bring everything that we possibly can to whatever project you're working on. And this is what I said I've been in the Tony Award-winning play on Broadway, Dancing at Lunasa. I've been in prime time. I've done daytime TV, independent film. I approach every character I play, I don't care what it is, with the same seriousness. I don't go, oh, I'm moonlighting on whatever. No, because the fun is really digging in and getting involved. And at the Q&A afterwards, because it all takes place at a rundown donut shop. My character, my family started it 60 years ago on my birthday in the north side of Chicago. I got to work with an accent, which I love. And the events that happen with all this cast member in the shop, and one audience member in the Q&A said, I could see that donut shop. He said, man, I knew where the counter was. I could see the crumbs on the floor. I could taste those. When you get feedback like that, it's really, really, really gratifying. And so, yeah, I try to keep a foot in theater.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
is there anything that you're? I don't want to hold you any longer than I need to, but I'm always curious. Is there anything? Is there a bucket list kind of thing? Is there anything that you're dying to, musical or a scary movie or like what's on the list of that you'd love to get a chance at?
I just want to play interesting parts. I've been asked that my entire career, and I've never had, I specifically want to do this. Although, when I got to the end of The Flash, I thought it would be cool to do theater. I'd love for it to be on Broadway. If it were a period piece, it would be great. And I'd love to work with an accent. I ended up playing a Welshman in a cast where everyone was doing Donegal Irish, but I was doing Welsh accent so well at some times that the stage manager says, okay, now you're doing the accent so well, nobody can understand what you're saying. So you need to back off. And so that was set in the 1930s in Wales, and that manifested. But as I sit here right now, I'm like, I just want to work with good people and do interesting projects. I have my awards. I have a Sovis Award for a radio drama that I did by David Gregory called Powder Burns, where I play a blind sheriff in the Old West in the late 1800s. Now get this, it's a radio drama, and the idea is see the Old West the way Sheriff Burns does without sight. And it's very atmospheric. Man, we had Robert Vaughn, we had Ed Asner, it was a great cast. It's called Powder Burns, and it can be found, I think, on YouTube now, Powder Burns Western. It's like 6 episodes of an audio drama, and it's really cool. Won a Sovis Award for that. I'm comfortable enough that I can do what I want to do, and I don't have to do what I don't want to do. And so I'm sort of like, man, let's just see what comes next.
Living the dream, man. Living the dream. Oh, love it. Okay. I like I said, I don't want to let you or hold you any longer than I have to, but this has been absolutely incredible. I want to give you the last few seconds here. Say what's on your mind, say what's on your heart, talk to the audience, say goodnight, all of that. Social media, where can they follow you? How can they support you? All that stuff.
My Instagram, I keep strictly for family, personal entertainment. So that's the place to follow me if you don't want to be subjected to my very fine opinions on Twitter. But I'm verified on Instagram. I'm verified on Facebook, and I'm on Twitter, but that gets very contentious. And I just recently started TikToking. So there's that. But I do want to say one thing, and I haven't shared this before, but I'll share it for this audience. Most of this last year, at the end of last summer, I discovered that I had prostate cancer. And so I had prostate cancer surgery in September. And then after that, I had radiation and the hormone therapy. I'm through it now. I'm cancer-free. But I just want to tell everybody and all the guys out there, go get your PSAs tested. Because if I hadn't caught it, when I did, and they did the biopsy and the scans, it could have killed me, So I just want everybody to make sure you go get your PSAs checked. If your PSAs are high, get a biopsy, take care of yourself. It's totally curable. I'm proof, but this is going to go everywhere now because this is the first time I have ever said that at the radio, at the level of press, radio, or film.
I'm incredibly honored that you would share that here. Thank you. I think that's an incredible. I just turned 40 myself, so I know it's time to start doing some screenings and getting some things checked. I will heed your advice.
Don't play with that stuff, man.
Yeah, we're so happy that you're still here. So glad that you're with us. This has been just the highlight of my career so far. Thank you for your time, ladies and gentlemen. Follow him, support him, check out all the things. Buy the Flash complete series on Blu-ray. It's out there. Get it. This has been the incredible John Wesley Shipp. I'll let you say goodnight to the audience, and then we'll toss it to a break.
Good night. Thank you all. Thanks for listening.
Outstanding. All right, guys, we'll be back with more right after this.
You're listening to the sounds of WTF Nation Radio.
Hey, you there? Yeah, it is right, you. Let me ask you something, alright? Where the hell do you think that you're going? Oh, would you think because the show's going to commercial that means you get to just walk away? Well, CQ asked me to pass on the little message, alright? And it says, I'll be back.
Broadcasting live from the basement of the Pentagon. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Hey, folks, welcome back. Let's bring in our favorite co-host, Mr. Mad Mike. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Clitty. That was the creepiest look I've ever seen. So, first off, John Wesley Shipp, phenomenal human being, awesome dude. What a great story. Awesome to talk to. Thoughts? What'd you think of our man?
Well, that was great.
He's such a cool dude. Just a
Yeah.
chill, cool, humble, nice guy. Love it.
Like he
Love to
is
see it.
on TV. He's kind of like that.
Yeah,
Just
he's kind of
that's
like
him.
that. He
Like
talked about
me.
the truth, right? He just brings the truth. That's who he is. Now, that aside, you were just showing me something on the break that I think you should share with the
Want
audience.
to raffle off. So I have a friend.
Yeah, first,
He's a
paint us
Marine.
a word picture. Give us context. Give us a lot of backstory, and then show.
One of my fellow Marines that I served with, call him my bestie. He works with veterans that have brain injuries or whatever. Like he works through companies that work with Winter Warrior Project and state organizations, and a lot of them are like fully handicapped and they wheelchair bound, they can't move anything. But one of them likes pain. Like his whole job is to get them, they have goals, and it's to get them to do whatever their goals are. And this guy, it was stand-up comedy and painting. So he took him to some painting classes, and per suggestions from somebody, he does his own thing. And we'll share that now. I call this Outer Rim Dicks.
That is it's middle of the frame, a little more to the middle. There
Which
you
way?
go. Yeah, just cover you.
There's a
So
lot to take in.
that's
You got to stare at it in
that
its
is a
entirety.
so just so I can paint a word picture here. That is a UFO in the shape of a penis abducting someone who seems to be aroused. Is he aroused that he's
Wouldn't?
being
If you're
abducted?
about to ride in a dick spaceship, would you not be aroused?
Wouldn't you be at full mast?
I mean, just the thought, and it's just another level of
yeah.
that goes. We're
Okay.
talking about shitty movies, like painting a picture. Like, come on.
Okay, one more. You got one more for us?
This one's the best one. I mean, he peaked. He only has
He peaked.
2 so far, which we can auction these off if you want.
Yeah.
But this is the piece de resistance. This is a who was that guy that
A Van Gogh?
Van Gogh-esque starry dicks.
I think it's upside down.
It's upside down. No, I ruined it.
That is a starry night filled with dicks.
Oh, there's so much to take in.
That's what she said.
Got him.
So there you go.
We bring out all the stops here, ladies and gentlemen.
Scott says, "Surprise giveaway! Let's go!
Let's go!"
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to win a dick-filled,
Did I say I'm giving that away? I
painting.
mean, that shit's going on above the fireplace.
I feel like that should go in a bathroom somewhere. I feel like that would be great bathroom art.
It's living room art, sir. My wife will not let me display. By any means. She's like, "You gotta re-gift those." I was like, "This is
we're gonna put it by the
artwork,
fine
ma'am."
So what you're saying is your wife doesn't support disabled veterans. Got it. Okay.
Doesn't, yeah,
Does
or
not.
just
Doesn't
arts
support
in
the troops.
general, like nothing.
She's
Cripple people.
not a fine art person.
No.
We're gonna hang this by the fine china.
Appreciate
That's
quality art whatsoever. Wouldn't know a quality painting if it slapped her in the face. Wham!
which you did with that painting. God bless.
Why do you keep hitting me in the face with this? You don't get this art.
Oh God, that's new meaning to the word mushroom stamp. It's a
And
whole.
the best
new...
part is like it's at like what are those places called? Jeez. Like painting, where you go with the
Michael's?
family. No, not Michael's.
Like a
What
store?
the fuck do you go to?
I don't know.
No.
You're just saying go to a place with the family. I don't know what you're
They
talking
have
about.
painting places where people pay a lot of money to go to. What is
Like
it?
a-
Brushwork. It's like brushworks, paint,
Yeah,
whatever.
like a-
People go. You can bring your wine or whatever, and you could. It's a room full of like 20 people, and he's
this
over here
guy's
painting
painting
dicks, and they're all like, "That's good. You're doing great work, sir."
Now, if I may, I have been
As
known
a connoisseur
a
of hard cocks.
connoisseur of art. I don't feel
Cock art.
of penile paintings. I don't feel that it wasn't veiny enough. They were not.
That's exactly what I said.
nearly-
It's like you have a limited amateur knowledge.
Yes, I feel there
Lack
needs to
of
be
veins.
more bush,
There's a lot more you can add. Yeah.
more bush, more
Let's keep it
veins.
level.
And those they're way too straight. There needs to be just a tilt.
Slight
There needs to be
bend.
a slight bend, because
You got to represent all the demographics. Couple
Anyway.
uncircumcisions.
Yeah. The Marine
He's
with the
not a
meth.
I never said he was a college level cock drawer. He's
never
entry
said-
level. He's entry level. This is Sony picture level cock
This isn't
art.
the Stan
all right?
Lee of cocks.
We're not
okay?
Marvel. We're not Marvel level cocks. When I start drawing cocks, I'll show you Marvel level cocks.
We're gonna start calling him the Joe Quesada of cock.
the editor in chief of cocks.
Oh, God.
Choking
Anyway.
not on cocks.
I got him all excited. Did you see that, everybody? All right. Well,
Anyways,
this has been a fun night.
Can't top that. We peaked.
We peaked. We peaked.
We had an interview, and then we showed cock art.
I mean, what more can the people want? I'm literally going over
We
the
could
survey.
show you the Borderlands
I'm
preview, but it won't be as good. Man.
Let's
I had other
see.
stuff, but now my brain is all cocks.
It's all just like a typical night, just all cocks. Let's talk about hang on. I'm
Boot.
looking for
Went to
where the hell did I put it? Upcoming interviews that I'm very excited about. So next week, pending. So let's skip over that one. The following week, August 27th, we have Doug Stone, who was amongst other things, was the voice of Psycho Mantis in the original Metal Gear Solid series, and a million other things. I just know him as Psycho Mantis because I love that character. September 3rd, we've got Kelly Schumann, who is she was relatively newer in the industry, but was I forget her character. Carol, I think it was in Superstore. She was the funny actress in Superstore. Very funny. I feel like Trump every day. Very funny. Very funny.
Very
girl.
good.
She was
Very
very
funny.
good. She was the
Coming
best.
on.
She was the best one. Very, very funny.
Best ever. You're gonna have a great time. You're gonna laugh a lot. Great person.
Everyone's told me I'm the best at getting guests for this show.
The best.
The greatest that's ever been.
All the guests are the best. It's the best. Everything's great.
Everything's awesome.
You're welcome.
The movie was made
What
for
can I
me.
say? What can I
Everything
say?
is awesome.
One day I just want to be like, what can I say? What can I say? You're welcome.
You're welcome. Let's see. Oh, speaking of which,
We don't have The Rock. We're not that big.
I
But we have
mean,
Kevin
it's-
Hart on the downfall. No, we don't have him either. We're not that big.
We'll catch him on the bounce. We'll catch Kevin on the bounce. That's what we'll get. A couple of people that we're finalizing. Paul Eating, who was the voice of the Colonel in the Metal Gear series. Lori Allen, whose voices Family Guy. Everybody knows her voice. She was the news anchor. What was her name? I forget her name. There was the two news anchors. There's the white guy with the mustache, and then her. I forget her name. God damn it! Terrible at this. I'm not good at this. Obviously, we're also finalizing some dates for Keith David, Sam Witwer. Looking through my list, Brian Callen, who's the comedian / actor. Joe Quesada. Joe Quesada's coming on the show. He'll be on here. Marvel legend.
Time I met him.
No, I don't think you have.
Yeah.
We got a bunch of people coming up. Holy moly! Like looking through the list, and yeah, we're gonna this.
Got people that want to be on the show.
I know, right? Isn't that crazy?
Pending Mad Mike next week. Pending.
Anyway, alrighty. With that, ladies and gentlemen,
we got other shows. Tell them about the other shows.
Tell them about the other shows, man. Let's pull up the graphic here.
We got graphics. We can afford that.
Well,
slow down the internet.
they're super outdated. They need to be updated. But it's okay. Sundays, we have the Sports Bar with King and Coach. Football season's back, baby. Let's go. Who's ready for some football? Yeah, man.
Yeah, we got a draft?
Preseason.
Draft or something?
We do got a draft coming up, man. We gotta draft some players.
Gotta make sure I download the app again.
Mr. I always auto draft.
And still beat somebody else.
Still
better than you. Boo-boo.
Anyway, so we got the Sports Bar on Sundays. Mondays with Ice and Massey. It's the Monday edition. That's your news, commentary, discussion, what's going on around the world. If you want to be, smart and know things from the world.
Other things.
Outside of the pop culture sphere, that's where you go. Tuesdays, right here with us, me and Mad Mike, finally back from his world traveling. Wednesdays, it's the Smoke Pit with Radar and TZ. Thursdays, Sergeant's Time with Ice and Spanky. And yes, it still says Friday Night Freedom. We need to fix that. It is not Friday Night Freedom anymore. It is FTX every other Friday, which this Friday will be an FTX. We will be playing games this Friday. And then
it stands for fucking thanks.
Yes, fucking thanks. That's what it stands for. It stands for Friday Night Tabletop Exercise. FTX, Friday Night Tabletop Exercise. And then Saturdays we've got Nemo doing weekend co-ops, which is awesome. Which there's some cool stuff coming down the line for
code for like butt sex or is that what they call a co-op now?
Oh God. What are we gonna do with you? Well,
can't get promoted.
Can't get demoted either, apparently.
And you're on the bottom. You're only up.
We'll start at the bottom and we're still here. All right, guys. Thank you, as always, for tuning in, for checking us out, for hanging out with us. Lots more stuff coming up. Great interview. Thank you, Grandmaster of the Psyops.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. I do what I can.
Mike, we appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to make an appearance.
I appreciate you. Look, thank you.
No, don't show.
I don't even play games.
Don't
and I got a
show.
Gay pride jersey.
Oh my God. Don't show. It's secret.
It's not secret.
It's secret. Now I'm going to have to chastise you in private. Anyway.
You're going to chastise my private. Someone threatened me with a good time, sir.
And thanks for zhuzhing up your background, by the way. It really shines nicely. We're gonna
Sony's taking notes. How would I do that? Those special effects.
The RGB.
You're gonna add that to the Craven reshoots.
Oh God. Yeah. Guys like you are the reason there's reshoots, man. Jesus Christ. All right, I think that's it. I think
we should be back unless we get canceled. Or a vacation comes up.
Yes. We'll discuss. Thank you all.
We're not discussing shit. We have contracts, sir.
We'll talk.
Those have ended.
People are saying Mike started some shit. Yes, yeah. That's Mad Mike. Bad.
Making pop culture warrior great again.
I should have hit the button and made you disappear. Is what I should have did. Anyway,
try to shoot my ear off. Fucking can't be stopped. Too great. Too good at this. You're so dumb. It's so late. God. We shut it off. Just hit the button.
Okay. Everybody, we'll see you next week. Shots.
Oh, God.
Doc! Oh, no! We're too late! We missed it! Oh, jeez, this is heavy. Oh, wait a minute, Doc, I got a time machine. I'm just gonna punch in the coordinates. Pop Culture Warrior, Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on WTF Nation Radio. Now crank this bad boy up to 88 miles per hour.
Let's see it.